Today we are going to do an experiment with evapo rust to test out flowing the evapo rust over a part. So here's our setup. We have a hose set up to flow down onto this part. It's pulling evapo rust right from the tank below it. The part's not sitting in the evapo rust, it's on a grid up above it. And we have a small pump that's going to recirculate the evapo rust over the top. Okay, so here we are. We're using a little diaphragm pump, which is the beating you hear in the background. And it may not cover the entire part, which would probably be the case if you were doing a hood or something. You'd have to keep moving the position. But let's give it a go and see what happens. It has managed to wet down the whole top surface, so it probably is going to de-rust everything up top. Where the flow is heavier, it looks like it's removed a little more rust than where the flow is lighter. Okay, we moved the part a little bit so we got better flow on the other side. The side that initially had flow, the rust is pretty much removed already from the top surface. Okay, we've flipped it over now. Much of the rust, even on the bottom surprisingly, is already loosened up and been just not even an hour, and this part that was rusty over much of its surface is now completely de-rusted. And all we did in our little experiment was we just used this little diaphragm pump, air-driven diaphragm pump, to flow evapo rust over the surface. We moved it once, we flipped it over, and that was all it took. In cases where you cannot immerse the part, you could set it up with something to funnel back down into a basin you could pump from, and then you could just pump the evapo rust, flood it over the surface like a waterfall. You do not want to put pressure on the nozzle. It's just something that flows, because evapo rust is very foamy. But if you can just flow it over the part, then it works very effectively, as you can see here.